The Hopskinville Goblin Incident. On the night of August 21st, 1955, 5 adults and 7 children arrived at the Hopkinsville police station. As the story goes, they claimed that their farmhouse had been attacked by a ship full of alien creatures. One of the men, Billy Ray Taylor, went to fetch some water from the family's well when he noticed a circular object spinning in the sky. It came to rest in a nearby gully, and unsure of what it was, he ran back to the house. Upon telling his story, he was met with laughter and ridicule, but after the family's dog began to bark uncontrollably, Billy and his friend Lucky went out to survey the scene, armed with weapons. Once outside, the 2 men watched as a group of strange goblin-like creatures came from the woods. They had large glowing eyes and were about 3 feet tall with pointed ears and were wearing strange plate armor on their chest. The creature's arms were long and out of proportion with the rest of their body, and they had talon-like claws on their hands. The creatures seemed to walk in a swaying motion, almost like swimming, and were even able to float in the air. Out of fear, Lucky fired off a shot and hit one of the creatures. Once it collided, the bullet gave off a metal pinging sound. The creature got up unscathed and ran off with the other extraterrestrials. Next, they walked inside to grab a shotgun and saw one of the creatures peering at them from a window. Billy shot the creature, breaking a window and sending the children into hysterics. Afterwards, they went outside to see if they'd killed one of the creatures. It was then that a long clawed arm reached down and grabbed Billy by the hair. Lucky saw one of the monsters on the roof and fired at it, hearing the same metallic noise from before once hit. Next, they saw another creature in a nearby tree and opened fire. The alien fell but didn't appear to be injured, ultimately scurrying away. Afterwards, the men barricaded themselves in the house with the rest of the family and waited for their chance to escape. In the middle of the night, the family fled to the nearest police station. Here they explained how they had fought against the ETs for over 4 hours. Due to how shaken up they were, the police felt inclined to go check it out. A posse was gathered of 4 police officers, 5 state troopers, 3 deputy sheriffs, and 4 military police officers from a nearby army base. Once they arrived, there didn't seem to be any goblins, but there was definitely evidence of a firefight, and a strange residue left on a fence that was later claimed to be foxfire, a luminous fungus that comes from rotting wood. With no further evidence of any creatures, the small army left and the family returned home. The next day, police returned to investigate the scene, and the family claimed that the creatures had returned and more shots were fired. Although again, there didn't seem to be any evidence to back up this story. Soon the events reached the local paper and radio. Some reports sensationalized that 12 to 15 aliens attacked the farm, when in reality there were only 3 or 4 and they didn't seem all that dangerous. Soon, tourists came from all around to get a look at the famous farm. It got so annoying that the owner of the stead, Glennie Langford, pleaded in the local paper for folks to leave her family be. But nosy tourists kept coming, with the family soon selling the home. Afterwards, they moved on and tried to live normal lives. Although their stories never wavered on what happened that fateful night, the Hopskinville case went on to be one of the most significant encounters in UFO history, with over 10 witnesses seeing the beings at the same time. The case was eventually picked up by Project Blue Book, a government agency put together to study UFO encounters and see if aliens were real. With little to no physical evidence, they listed the case as a hoax, and the aliens were labeled by skeptics to be nothing more than great horned owls. But if that were true, then how come all of those people reported seeing long-armed aliens? And if they really were birds, then how come direct gunshots didn't kill them? Questions like these are what's kept this case in the spotlight for over 6 decades, with it spawning numerous books, games, and movies, with films like The Gremlins and even a Pokemon being based off the aliens that were reported. So whether this case was fact or fiction, you can't deny the mark that it's left on history and UFO culture as a whole. But whatever your opinion on aliens are, I want you to open your mind and think, would it really be that crazy if there were more beings out there, just waiting to make contact? Follow for more.